and did a podcast, a white podcast. You sat your for almost 2 hours
and didn't leave.
and you talk. And the white folk asked you, was you a professional officer?
Yeah.
We would have never asked you that, nigga.
Right.
Got respect for you.
Right.
And you sat right there and you answered that question so eloquently, like it wasn't even disrespectful. And then I get to sit back and watch that. And what's the difference between them and us?
Okay.
Now I feel disrespect.
Right.
Don't do us like that.
Man, the internet has been on fire ever since Rick Ross and DC Young Fly went at each other. Nobody saw this coming at all. What started as a light joke quickly turned into a full-blown viral roast. And now everybody's locked in. It all kicked off when Ross dropped some slick comments online, trying to clown DC like he was just a small-time comedian who didn't belong in his lane. Ross posted a video in full boss mode, cigars lit, luxury cars behind him, basically talking about how comedians need to stay in their own section. But DC wasn't having it. Not even a little. He came back with a response so fast, so sharp, and so hilarious that the whole internet instantly knew Ross had picked the wrong one to test. DC Young Fly isn't just funny, he's lethal with words. He's been battle-tested for years, roasting heavy hitters and holding his own every time. So when Ross threw shade, DC didn't get mad. He turned it into pure entertainment. His comeback video went viral within hours, and fans started calling it one of the funniest clapbacks of the year. DC looked straight into the camera and said, "Boy, if you don't go sit down with them lemon pepper wings and that Maybach you still leasing." The delivery alone had people crying laughing. Social media went crazy. Reposts, memes, reaction videos everywhere. Even other celebrities jumped in saying DC straight cooked him. Ross tried to brush it off at first, posting his usual flex content, private jets, stacks of money, and his big mansion in the background. But fans weren't letting it slide. Every comment section he touched was flooded with, "DC got you," and Wingstop CEO lost this round. It turned into a running joke online. That's when Ross decided to clap back again. But honestly, it only made things worse. He tried to downplay DC's career, saying comedians crack jokes because they can't make money like bosses.
Since he walked off on
Man,
y'all?
we were just talking to Angie Martinez about that yesterday. We in Atlanta, so we run into him all the time.
Yeah.
Car shows. So they ain't never been no hard feeling.
Yeah.
This ain't no hard feeling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, first of all, I don't give.
Yeah. I get it.
But I give a because
Try to make it.
you as a person.
Yeah.
We the type of people that will never bring up nothing that we feel like that can be diminished to your career or anything, nigga, because we some real niggas.
Yeah.
The moment you leave our show.
But that's when DC dropped the second bomb. He went live and said, "Boy, your whole life built on lemon pepper and lies." Fans lost it all over again. And honestly, it wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. The delivery had that raw energy, that street-smart humor mixed with confidence that Rick Ross just couldn't match. DC started pointing out how Ross is always trying to move like the ultimate boss, but keeps getting caught slipping. From that correctional officer passed to people questioning some of his business moves, DC hit him with, "How you gonna call yourself the biggest boss when your biggest L's keep going viral?" Boom, the internet erupted again. That moment completely shifted the vibe. Ross went from looking untouchable to getting roasted like it was a full-on comedy special. By now, fans were treating it like a battle, DC versus Ross, comedian versus rapper. But what made it crazier? DC wasn't even rapping. He was just talking, and still winning. That's a level of charisma you can't teach. His jokes were sharp, his tone was fearless, and he didn't sound bothered at all. Meanwhile, Ross started trying to save face with motivational lines like, "Real bosses don't entertain clowns." But nobody was buying it. People could see right through it. Ross looked hurt. DC had turned his name into a trending topic for all the wrong reasons. Then things got even messier. Fans dug up old clips of Ross getting roasted by other celebrities and started remixing them with DC's new moments. Pure chaos. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram were flooded with edits, showing Ross getting flamed while DC's punchlines played in the background. Some fans even said DC reminded them of old-school comedy legends who could destroy somebody with just a few words. It wasn't just a roast anymore, it was a cultural moment. Rappers, influencers, YouTubers, everybody had something to say, and the wildest part? DC didn't even seem mad. He was laughing the whole time, treating it like entertainment. He even joked about turning the whole situation into a comedy special called Lemon Pepper Laughter. Fans said if he ever drops that, it's an instant hit. Ross, on the other hand, looked frustrated. He went live again trying to switch the subject to business, property, and being self-made, but nobody cared. Every serious sentence was drowned out by lemon emojis in DC. Quotes in the chat, even big names like 21 Savage and DaBaby were liking posts that clearly sided with DC Young Fly. That's when the internet basically made its decision. Fans started breaking it down, saying this whole moment exposed something bigger. Rappers like Rick Ross aren't used to getting clowned by comedians who control the narrative online. DC's humor disarmed him. No matter how rich Ross is, no amount of money could stop him from becoming a meme. This is a new era where being relatable, funny, and real beats being flashy and stiff. And DC Young Fly proved that loud and clear. He didn't need luxury cars or a mansion backdrop. He didn't need props at all. He just needed his phone, his personality, and his wit, and that was enough to body a rap mogul. Now, some Ross fans tried to defend him, saying DC was clout chasing or trying to go viral off a legend's name. But that argument didn't really stick. DC already built his own empire: comedy, acting, producing, hit shows, movies. He's not some random newcomer. So when he roasted Ross, it didn't feel like punching up. It felt like two heavyweights meeting on equal ground. Two big personalities colliding in the digital arena. And when you go bar for bar, or in this case, joke for joke, DC simply outperformed him. The timing made everything even funnier because Ross has already been getting called out lately for looking out of touch online. Too much flexing, too much showing off, while regular people are struggling. So DC's jokes hit harder because they came with truth. He said what a lot of folks were already thinking. Ross might be rich, but he's starting to look corny. That's why people loved it so much. It wasn't just a roast. It felt like a reality check, delivered with laughter. And that's the magic of DC Young Fly. He knows how to balance comedy and truth-telling. He'll make you laugh, then make you think. Ross underestimated that power. He thought he could brush DC off like a regular internet troll. Instead, DC flipped it into a cultural roast that exposed how fragile Ross's image really is. The wild part? DC didn't even have to cuss or get super personal. He just used natural charisma to humble a superstar. Now that the dust is settling, this whole Rick Ross versus DC Young Fly situation is starting to look like a turning point in celebrity culture. Fans are calling it the roast that humbled a boss. And honestly, that might be the most accurate description yet, because no matter how Ross tried to spin it, the truth is DC owned this moment from start to finish. He proved that sometimes the loudest mic drop doesn't come from a rapper in a booth, but from a comedian with a camera and confidence. After DC's last response went viral, Ross went quiet for a few days. You could tell he was regrouping, because when he came back, it was straight business posts, Wingstop promotions, Maybach pics, boss talk, but fans weren't fooled. They saw right through it. Everybody knew that silence meant he was holding that L. Meanwhile, DC Young Fly just kept gaining more momentum. His name started trending again when clips of him performing at a comedy show surfaced online. And of course, he couldn't resist. On stage he joked, Rick Ross tried to check me, but I checked his cholesterol. The crowd lost it. That moment got clipped everywhere. And once again, Rick Ross turned into a walking punchline. What makes it so crazy is that Ross built his whole image around dominance, untouchable, biggest boss, larger than life. But DC cracked that armor with jokes that felt way too real to ignore. Fans started pointing out how Ross had been throwing subliminal shots at different people for months, rappers, podcasters, random critics, but nobody fired back like DC did. It's almost poetic that a comedian became the one person who made a rap mogul look small. That's what people mean when they say the internet leveled the playing field. Fame and money don't automatically equal respect anymore. Authenticity does. Then, the memes went nuclear. People edited videos of Ross walking into Wingstop with DC's voice roasting him in the background. Fake Wingstop Employee of the Month posters popped up with DC's face on them. Even AI remixes of DC's jokes turned into diss tracks. The creativity from fans took the feud to another level. It felt like a digital boxing match where the crowd was throwing punches to. Ross couldn't catch a break because every move he made turned into fresh meme material. At one point, he posted another mansion flex, showing champagne bottles and his pool. But DC's supporters immediately flooded the comments. One person wrote, "You can't buy a comeback." Another said, "DC owns this pool now." Brutal. Even entertainment blogs started running headlines like DC Young Fly outshines Rick Ross in viral feud. That's how deep it got. Ross went from controlling the narrative to being the narrative. But here's what really separated DC from everybody else. He never made it dark. He never crossed into personal or disrespectful territory. He kept it funny, clever, and clean. No family shots. No deep insults. Just classic roasting. That's why fans respected it. Deep down, even Ross probably knows DC didn't mean real harm. It was one entertainer defending himself with his natural gift. But ego is tricky, and Ross' pride likely made it hard for him to laugh along. At this point, people are calling DC the undefeated roast champ. It's not the first time he's embarrassed someone with humor, but this might be the biggest W of his career so far. He didn't just win the internet, he gained even more respect in the entertainment world. Celebs like Mike Epps, DL Hughley, and even Kevin Hart reportedly showed love, saying DC represents the new generation of comedy, fearless and funny at the same time. This whole situation also proves how fast narratives flip online. Years ago, nobody would have imagined a comedian embarrassing a rap mogul like this. But culture changed. Wit beats wealth. Energy beats ego. That's why DC's audience keeps growing. He's relatable, unfiltered, and entertaining. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and that's exactly why people take him seriously. Ross will probably bounce back. He's still a legend in music and business. But the internet will never forget this one. Every time he flexes now, somebody's dropping a lemon pepper joke or a DC quote. It's stamped forever. This roast went past entertainment. It became symbolic, showing that no matter how powerful you are, if you get too cocky, the internet will humble you. Now rumors are floating around that DC Young Fly and Rick Ross might actually end up doing something together. Maybe a podcast appearance. Maybe a comedy skit. Something to squash the tension and flip the whole situation into money. And honestly, if they ever link up, it could be legendary. Imagine DC walking through Wingstop cracking jokes while Ross plays the serious straight man. Fans would eat that up instantly. Both of them are smart enough to understand one thing. Controversy brings views, and views bring cash. So who knows? Maybe today's beef turns into tomorrow's business deal. But until that day comes, DC is sitting comfortably with the win. His timing, confidence, and humor turned a small online jab into a full-blown career highlight. Ross learned the hard way that you can't outshine somebody who's naturally funny, no matter how many cars, Chains or mansions you flex, the people have spoken. And this time, the crown goes to the comedian. DC proved that laughter always wins, especially when it's backed by truth. And right now, his name is ringing louder than ever. While Ross just got a reminder that even the biggest boss can catch a digital fade when they mess with the wrong one. Subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment.